Ever spent 10 minutes hunting for a file you know is somewhere on your system? Let's fix that for good. Over the next few minutes, we're going deep on Find, the most powerful file search tool on Linux. By the end, you'll be able to track down any file by its name, size, type, age, or owner, and even run actions on the results, all from a single command. Here's the roadmap. We'll start with the syntax, how a find command is actually put together, then move into searching by name, which is what most people reach for first. From there, we'll filter by type and size, narrow things down by time, and look at ownership and permissions. And finally, the fun part, taking action on what we find, including delete and the powerful exec flag. Before we dive into syntax, let's answer the obvious question. Why find at all? Because find walks the file system live, testing every file against whatever criteria you give it. You can search recursively, stack filters like name, size, time, and permissions together, and then actually do something with the matches. Locate is faster, sure, but it leans on a database that's often out of date. Find always tells you the truth, right now. So let's break find down into its anatomy. Every command you'll ever write follows the same three-part shape: where to look, what to test for, and what to do with the matches. The path comes first, and that's your starting folder, and a single dot means right here. Then come your test conditions like -name with a pattern, and finally an action, print by default, but you can swap in delete, exec, and others as we'll see later. Now let's put that anatomy to work with the simplest commands you'll actually type. Plain find dot dumps everything below your current folder, handy for a quick look around. Swap the dot for a path like /home/Laszlo to point find anywhere on the system. Add -name and a file name to hunt for an exact match, or wrap a wildcard in quotes star.pdf to grab every PDF. And when recursion is overkill, -maxdepth1 keeps the search shallow. These 5 patterns alone will cover most of your daily searches. Let's zoom in on matching by name, because this is where wildcards really start earning their keep. -name is case sensitive, so star.log won't catch a file ending in capital log. For that, reach for -iname, which ignores case entirely. You can anchor patterns at the start with report star, wrap them in stars like star backup star to match anywhere in the name. And even flip the logic with dash, not to exclude a pattern. Handy for skipping every dot text in a folder. Names are powerful, but often you want to narrow things down further by what kind of thing you're looking at. That's where dash type comes in. F for regular files, D for directories, and L for symbolic links. The real magic happens when you combine it with -name. Want only shell scripts? Find .-type f-name star.sh, hunting for every folder called cache to clean up. Swap in -type D. You'll reach for this combo constantly. Now let's filter by size. Incredibly useful when your disk is filling up and you need to know who the culprits are. The syntax is simple. A plus sign means larger than, a minus sign means smaller than, and you tack on K, M, or G for kilobytes, megabytes, or gigabytes. So -size plus 100 melt finds anything bigger than 100 megs. Pair it with -type F to skip directories, or use -empty to track down 0-byte files and folders. And that last one, combining -size with -exec ls-lh, gives you a tidy, human-readable listing of your biggest files, a real cleanup superpower. From size, we move to time, finding files by when they were last touched. The pattern is straightforward. mtime works in days, mn in minutes, and the sign in front tells find which direction to look. A -7 means within the last 7 days, while +30 means untouched for over a month. You can also compare against a reference file with -newer, which is perfect for catching everything modified since your last backup. And that final example, it's exactly how you hunt down stale temp files worth cleaning up. Now we shift from when to who, filtering by ownership and permissions. -user and -group let you track down everything belonging to a specific person or team, which is invaluable when someone leaves the company. The perm flag is where it gets interesting. A bare 777 matches exact permissions, while a dash before the mode means at least these bits set. That last one, finding Setuid binaries across the whole file system, is a classic security audit move you'll want in your back pocket. Here's where find gets really powerful. You can stack conditions together. By default, listing predicates side by side means and, so that first example only matches JPGs that are also bigger than 2 megabytes. Add -o and you get OR, like grabbing every temp or log file in one sweep. When you need to mix the two, wrap the OR group in escaped parentheses so the precedence is clear, and reach for -not when it's easier to say what you don't want. Once you've found the files you want, -exec lets you actually do something with them. The curly braces stand in for each match. And the ending matters. /; runs your command once per file, while plus batches them all into a single call, which is much faster for things like RM or grep, so you can list log sizes, sweep away temp files, or hunt for todo markers across every text file, all in one line. Speaking of sweeping things away, find has a built-in -delete flag, and it's genuinely dangerous because there's no trash can and no undo. So burn this habit in. Always run the search by itself first, eyeball the matches, and only then append -delete to the exact same command. 2 seconds of previewing has saved more careers than I can count. Now find really starts to shine when you pipe its output into other tools. Want a quick file count? Pipe into WC-L. Curious how much space all your JPEGs are eating. Hand the list to xargs and let DU add it up. Need the 10 biggest files in a tree. Print sizes and paths, sort numerically, and grab the head. Think of xargs as the bridge. It finds results into any command you like, which is often cleaner than wrestling with -exec. So let's pull it all together with 5 recipes you'll actually reach for. Hunting down space hogs? Find files over 100 megs and list them with sizes. Log directory bloating. Match anything older than 30 days and delete it in one pass. The same pattern counts your photos, prunes empty directories, or flips the executable bit on every shell script in a project. Keep these in your back pocket. They're the payoff for everything we've built up to. Before you go off and run these, let me save you some pain with the gotchas that trip everyone up. Always quote your wildcard. Otherwise, the shell expands the star before find ever sees it. Remember that -name is case sensitive. Reach for -iname when you don't care about capitalization. Don't forget -type F, or you'll match directories too. And when searching from root, pipe stare to dev null to silence that flood of permission-denied errors. Let's pull it all together with a cheat sheet of the tests worth memorizing. Across the top row, you've got the everyday trio: name, type, and size. The middle row covers the metadata filters, when it changed, who owns it, and what permissions it carries. And the bottom row is your power tools: find empty stuff, cap how deep you recurse, and finally, act on the matches with exec or delete. Here's the same idea in copy-paste form. Top row, match by name, ignore case with iname, or restrict to regular files with type F. Middle row is your metadata sweep. Find big files over 100 megs, anything modified in the last week, or files owned by a specific user. Bottom row is action territory. Spot empty items, delete matches in one shot, or pipe each hit into your own command with exec. Screenshot this one. It covers 90% of what you'll ever type. So let's lock in what really matters. Find always has 3 parts: where to look, what to test for, and what to do. And the magic happens when you stack those tests together to zero in on exactly the right file. 2 habits will save you real pain. Always run a search before adding delete, because there's no undo, and remember that. Exec turns find into a launchpad for any command you want to run across every match. Here's the whole lesson in one line. Know one fact about a file and find will track down the rest. Name, size, timestamp, type, owner. Pick any attribute and you've got a starting point to locate it and act on it. That's why this is the one search command worth mastering. If you want to go further with Linux, the command line, and DevOps, head over to dargslan.com. And if this helped, subscribe, like, and share. Happy hunting!